Welcome to Inside Plug, the podcast where independent creators and entrepreneurs connect and inspire. I'm your host, Devon Jones. I'm a military veteran turned filmmaker. I found my spark in the military, and now I'm here to help you find yours. Inside Plug is a platform for your voice, stories to be shared, and ideas to flourish. Let's dive in and plug into creativity and entrepreneurship together. Today, we have returning guest Damian Chao. He's an award-winning actor and producer. He has been in an Ampia Award-nominated feature film called Three. He's a Canadian professional actor. He plays the character Reese in a short film U-17. He also plays the lead actor Aiden Paris in a feature film Paris's Apple. Damien, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me, Devon. I appreciate it.
So wow, you have a lot of projects you've been working on in the last couple months. How's all that been working out for you?
It's been good. It's actually been, fairly busy, which is always great because sometimes it's not as busy as you'd hope. I just wrapped actually another one a few weeks ago on a small project there that I worked on for quite a while, and so it's been going really good actually because sometimes this business it's a little bit harder to get work or to maintain work. So yeah, I've been very fortunate that I've been able to keep working for the last several months, and putting in good work with good projects is always a plus, which is great.
Nice. You worked on some short films and you worked on some feature films. How would you compare working on the length of the film? Is it more preparation? Is it more work for coming into character with the character that you're playing?
Yeah, I would say the difference I think would be like just the amount of sort of bringing in the time you have. Like so, short films are obviously a little bit quicker. Feature films usually have a little bit more time, obviously, and so I think that it's just a matter of kind of making sure you can get your dialogue down in rote in terms of like making sure you have enough time to make sure you got enough dialogue to get to the feature film and make sure you have enough stamina to make sure you can bring that stamina to a feature film. Short films are obviously really great too, but they can be quite quick, so you got to work very quickly. Whereas feature films, I think what I've learned tend to be quick as well, but also you have more time. So it's just kind of what you do when you have your downtime, kind of sitting in your chair or wherever you're put up, just to kind of stay kind of grounded and stay sort of in the present and just kind of let whatever work you've done prior to coming to set, you've done your homework to just like let it go and then just be present on set so that you can be available to the moment and whatever happens to just let it be, because in the action to cut, whatever happens is the good stuff. And so you just kind of make sure you're prepared and then just kind of learning to just kind of make sure you are aware and able to bring, your goods when you're called upon for action.
Nice. All right. Yeah. All right. So let's bring them back a little bit. How did you get into acting? What inspired you? Did you turn on the TV? Did you go to a movie theater? Have you had a friend or a relative that was acting?
Yeah, my grandfather was an actor in China and Japan, years ago, obviously, and he. Growing up, my grandma was very inspirational. She'd kind of like, draw with me and we'd paint, and she'd take me to the ballet, which I don't think I really loved, to be honest, but she took me to the ballets and we talked to different shows all the time. And so through that, I didn't really enjoy it. But then, like growing older and in high school, I feel like I sort of had seen so many movies with my dad. My parents got divorced when I was younger, and so he'd always take us to like blockbusters and to the movies. And so I seen a lot of movies when I was growing up, and so I felt like when I hit high school, I just sort of felt like I really, really, there's something about this industry that I really kind of want to grasp to and be a part of. And I think the acting thing kind of hit me quite quickly. But I didn't pursue it in high school because I was a little bit too in my shell. I did take a film studies project or film class project for film studies. So I got to make a short film and edit the film and stuff. So that was kind of a foray into like, okay, this is an interesting way. This is interesting how you make films. And so I felt like after I was done high school, I thought, you know what, this is like, I'm going to just try to go for it, however I can do it. I just figured I'll just try to figure out how I can make this work. So I ended up getting an agent right away, just getting background work. I did like 4 shows back to back, doing background. which was cool just to see like what it's like to be on a film set and seeing all these big actors kind of work on these projects. And then um, after that, I sort of parlayed it into taking acting classes, and then I ended up, studying abroad to really focus on the craft of what it is to be an actor. And I learned that it was like such a hard graft to be an actor, but it was something that I felt found very rewarding and something I wanted to pursue for my life because it was that whole thing. So I think it started back when I was a child with my grandparents kind of influencing me to become an artist of some sort.
All right. So, can you take us through your first audition, your audition itself, and then like after the audition, like did you get the part? Did you not get the part? And
The
then
first one?
yeah, the first one.
Okay. So I did actually end up booking my first one. I was super green, but I ended up coming in there, and I did a small little read through for them, and I did book it. Not on the day, but they called me and said I do have the part, so I did book my first one. But so that was kind of cool. But after that, I definitely didn't book a lot. So
All
it
right.
was like I got very lucky that first time, and then after I was like, oh, this is like a tough grind. Yeah, you come in the room and it's like kind of an intimidating factor because you come in and there's either a few people or a couple people and they're all lined up and you kind of go in there and they have their camera set up and it's kind of a daunting process to kind of go in there and be vulnerable in front of a bunch of people, right? That you kind of don't really know. And so that's part of the acting job is to be vulnerable and be open and to be like a vessel of like emotions and vulnerability for people to feel off of what you're doing. And so it's just basically being like, letting go and just doing your best. You don't always do your best, but you certainly try. And even if you do your best, sometimes you're not going to get that job. But it's just about, for me, it's about the consistency of like keep coming back and keep going in the door and keep putting in your auditions and keep putting in your work because hopefully through dedication and your 10,000 hours and going in the room constantly that you're going to get better at your craft and hopefully start looking and getting lucky with those breaks where it's all where a place where opportunity and luck are able to meet together, and that's kind of the goal. So as long as you keep coming back, I think that's a great thing. So yeah.
All right. So let's talk about one of these films. So the short film U17. I read there you had to do some actor preparation. Can you take us through that? And would you say that was your one of your more roles that you had to prepare more than others? Because it's a lot of preparation that went into this character. Um,
Yeah, I think this one, there is a lot of preparation, I think, in general for, all the characters you play, depending on the size of the part and whatnot. This one felt like I had to go the farthest for sure. I felt like I went pretty deep into it. He was a inmate on death row, and so I grew like, mutton chops in a big mustache for like 4 months, and I shaved my head and made sure I had the character's hair for like 4 months before filming because I wanted to really get into the character because I felt like he was quite hard to grasp into for me. I could relate to the character in some ways, but I couldn't in other ways. But it was a measure of trying to just look the part, feel the part, and then ultimately just be the part. And so, yeah, a lot of preparation was pretty intense. I slept in my bathroom for like 12 or 14 days, for hours on end, just sleeping on the surface of the floor, trying to get a feel of what it'd be like to be in an enclosed environment for such a long period of time. Because they're in their cells and it's not that big and it's kind of not the greatest conditions. And so I wanted to kind of feel what it felt like to be super isolated and in a small area without anywhere to go and how I would react to that situation. So I felt that through the sleeping bit and lying on the floor, I actually got a lot of back pain. So I think it kind of helped inform how my character would sit and walk in the cell. And then I thought that through the isolation period, you kind of felt like, well, these people are very alone, and it's almost like seemed like being seen like older people in like a hospital or like an old folks home where it's like they're lonely. They want people to be around them, and so I felt like there was this loneliness that I had to bring to the part that showed he felt really isolated. And then also kind of working on a bit of an accent in the gravelly voice of it was also a thing that I worked very, very hard on with a voice coach to really kind of grasp that sort of southern sort of deeper voice that I worked on for quite a while to just kind of grasp it. But I do feel like I had to go quite, I guess, into the method to be this part. But it's not always the case. Just for this one, it really had to go to a kind of a darker place to kind of prepare to go to set to be able to like be this character. And I felt the preparation worked so well that when I came to set, I was just being the character. I just was just like, I'm there. It's cool, whatever you want to do. I'm just ready to rock whatever way you want to go. I'm cool. Just do whatever you want to do. And so I felt really connected with my scene partners on the day, and I felt like this was just needed for this specific part. Sometimes actors got to go to lengths to kind of become that character. And I think for this one specifically, it was the most I had to prepare for to really become that character.
Nice, nice, that's awesome. All right, so where can people find your work? Where can people keep up with you, see what projects you worked on, and even check out, U17?
So yeah, I think U17, I believe, is on Vimeo or online. I think it's coming to a streaming service hopefully near you soon. In terms of following me, obviously my IMDb at Damian Chao. You can follow me there at Damian Chao Actor 11 at Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, Damian Chao. I'm not quite sure what the actual thing is. But my work also, I just was luckily enough to be in a film with some bigger actors in a film called Dark Match, which stars Aisha Issa and Sarah Canning and Michael Eklund and Stephen Ogg of The Walking Dead and Jonathan Cherry. So that was able to be part of that film. It's a Lowell Dean film, and that film actually just played at Fantasia in Montreal at a big screening. It's produced by Chris Jericho, the heavyweight champion wrestler, and so it's a wrestling film. So yeah, I got to play a ref in that film, and so actually it's Spirit of Fantasia in Montreal, and it's actually going to be premiering in Calgary at the Calgary Film Festival this coming September. So there's going to be that coming out, and then it should be playing in different places in the states as well, coming to a festival near you. And then the other ones, they should be on a streaming service actually, hopefully soon. So I will post up on my Instagram and do that when I have more details about future projects being put on streaming services.
Nice, nice. Yes, go check that out. Oh yeah. So you threw a name out there. Well, it was pretty interesting. Chris Jericho. So
Yes.
I've been following you for a while. So you are a sports fan. You like hockey and you like wrestling. And
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do like a lot of sport. Yeah, wrestling. I do like
yeah,
it.
and so Chris Jericho. So here's a fun fact about me. Chris Jericho and Bret Hart is my two favorite wrestlers.
Okay.
They're both from Canada and they both love hockey,
Yes.
and that's your sports. So
Yes, it is.
is this your first film that has like sports in it, or would this be your first film that's like kind of like tying in both of those two things that you like, sports and acting?
Yeah, this is definitely, I think, the very first one I've ever had the luck of being able to be part of a sports film. It's a horror wrestling film, kind of sort of 80s era wrestling. It was really great. I got to work with a lot of wrestlers on set. I love Bret Hart, obviously. I was very fortunate actually to grow up, just a couple hours from where the Hart House is. So I actually got to meet Stu Hart and got a tour of the dungeon and all that stuff when I was in high school. And so, yeah, I feel very connected. I've seen I've met a lot of the Hearts at wrestling shows over the years. And and so I think that this was really cool because I enjoy wrestling. I trained for a bit when I was like 16 years old. I trained for like 2 months. I wasn't able to cut it. It's quite a hard.
It's not for everybody.
Quite a hard
It's
gap.
tough.
Yeah, and so I grew up really enjoying it. So yeah, it was great to be able to do this because I really enjoy the business and the wrestling aspect of it. And so yeah, I wasn't able to work with Chris Jericho because I didn't have enough days where he was on that I was. So I just missed him basically in route going. When I finished my days, he was just coming to set. But yeah, I think being able to be part of a film like this was really great. Seeing other the wrestlers who were working on the film and some of the stunt guys doing all the work, it was just really great to be able to see a part of it. And I think it's cool because I got to live a part of my dream is like sort of being a part of the wrestling business in the film. So I'm very thankful to Lowell Dean who cast me. Very great, really great director. Very open and very kind. And so yeah, I'm very happy to be part of this. And I would have loved to have played a wrestler, but hopefully maybe in the future that could happen some way down the
Hey,
line.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll
for
be
sure.
cool.
Yeah, really cool.
So a lot of wrestlers went into acting. You have Hulk Hogan, you have Zeus, Batista, John
Yeah,
Cena, The Rock.
The Rock. Yeah,
Triple H have some, Randy have some, Edge have some.
yeah, definitely got
Is
edge there for
there?
sure.
Would you say that is a? I don't want to say like a good or bad path, but would you say that's a decent path for wrestlers to go into acting, like usually right after?
You know, it's interesting. I sometimes I think I think I think it can be a really good path for them. I think that there's a lot of especially when they're in the big names like them. I think that they have a good recognition. I think that they're obviously putting on a performance and they're putting on a character while they're doing their bit on the mic or in the ring. And I think that a lot of them actually have a lot of talent on the screen. So I think it's actually a good foray into acting from wrestling. I think some are better than others. Obviously, I think Batista is like on the top of the list. I think he's really, really good. I think he's shown a
Yeah.
lot of depth of like different characters he's portrayed, like in Dune 1 and Dune 2, and then other parts he's played in like Galaxy of the Guardian. I mean, he's just been like
Mm,
he's a really, really, really good like character actor. And I think it's surprising because he's this huge, huge dude. And he's like got like tattoos everywhere, but he's really, really good. And even Cena, like I'm impressed that he's actually so funny. And I kind of wouldn't expect him to be that funny. And so I think The Rock is obviously really, he's like such a huge name and one of the greatest wrestlers of all time in terms of sports entertainers. I think he's not as great an actor as he is a wrestler and entertainer. However, he's still entertaining, makes great films. But I think Batista and all these other, like Edge, even he's on Vikings, and like they're actually really quite good. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity for these wrestlers to go over and kind of mix into the Hollywood mainstream. And I think it's a good foray to have the do it. I think it's a really good mix for Hollywood and for entertainment business wrestlers. So I think that there should be a lot of female stuff as well. And I think it's a good way of mixing their business with this business. It's sort of similar in a lot of ways. So yeah, I'm definitely for it for sure.
nice, nice. All right. So if you can give our listeners a book, a TV show, or a film to watch, what would you recommend to them?
Okay. For a book, I would say, oh my gosh, I would say it's an old one. I'm going to say On the Road with Jack Kerouac. Pretty cool book about him going on the road of like, America at that time with his friends, kind of drinking and doing all these things. I think it's one of the classic, really great American literature novels of all time. And then for TV show, I would say if you had to watch a TV show, I'd have to say you have to watch. Man, there's so many TV shows. I'd probably have to say if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, you got to watch Breaking Bad. Or even like season one of True Detective, pretty wild. And I'm a pretty big Game of Thrones fan, so maybe Game of Thrones as well. Or Vikings even is a great, great show. And then what was the other one? A movie?
A movie, yeah, a film. So it can be a film, a recent film, or even like a classic film.
Classic film. Okay, so classic film, or geez, I'm gonna say for film, I'm gonna say, God, there's so many films. I'm gonna say Good Will Hunting. I think it's a classic, really great, great film. And then I'm gonna say for an old film, I'm gonna say On the Waterfront with Marlon Brando and Elia Kazan. I think that's a classic, classic, beautiful, beautiful performance and great film.
All right. All right. So, last question. So, with all this technology we got going on, where do you see filmmaking in 10 years from now?
That's a really good question. I think technology is super advanced. We got a lot of yeah. I think it's great in terms of because with the digital cameras now we can literally we can film stuff on like without having to have like a studio or all this money. Obviously, you need some money to make a film, but you are able to have like a camera to record wherever and whenever you need to because it's totally digital. The only thing I think issues is like the use of AI and all that stuff. I think makes it a little bit more intricate for our business, I guess. Maybe more so for the acting industry. I think obviously for filmmaking in 10 years, it's definitely going to be around. filmmaking is definitely it's needed to tell stories. I mean, we need stories in our lives, and I think the greatest and fastest way of telling stories is through seeing or watching films or movies, or listening to music. And I think that reading books is great, but it's obviously more work to read a book than it is to watch a film or to watch a TV show. So I think filmmaking is always going to be there. I think it always had its place in the world. I think it's it started off going to cinemas when people were just getting into when people were younger. It's like people were going to cinemas, and now it's more like digital and like online and streaming services. But there will always be filmmaking for sure. So I think filmmaking has never been actually more busier and more people doing it than I think now. I think people have so much access to cameras and to equipment that I think now you're going to see a lot more young and upcoming filmmakers because of the digital era. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what these filmmakers come up with, because filmmakers, I think, to me, are the heart of the business. They're the ones who grind the most. They have to go through all this process of like getting a script made or finding a script and then getting money and raising money to make the films and getting cast, and it's a never-ending process making your own film. And I think that as much as other people in the industry struggle, I think filmmakers are the hardest working, because they have to do everything to make sure the film gets made. We as actors, we get to go to auditions and we get to come in the room and do all these projects for years. Whereas that filmmaker is working on that one specific film, or that couple films for like his entirety of that year, right? Or a couple years. So it's like they're grinding away. So I think filmmaking in 10 years will be even bigger. And I think that we're going to get a lot greater and better filmmakers because of the digital era. And I think that because of filmmakers, it gives a lot of actors the chance to work. So I'm really happy. And that people always are going to need entertainment, and films that are not just entertainment, but films to watch stories and see stories unfold. So I think that filmmaking will always be there, and I think it'll be in really good hands in 10 years. And I think it'll even be bigger, and maybe we can even get the theaters going even bigger with the cinema in 10 years. So yeah, I think it's going to be bigger in 10 years than it is even now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. That was award-winning actor Damian Chao. Go check out U17 on Vimeo. Follow him on Facebook, Instagram, and check out his IMDb page. Thank you for tuning in to Inside Plug. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found it inspiring. Remember, every journey begins with a single step, and every creator has a story worth sharing. If you love what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on insightplug.com. Remember, that's insightplug2gs.com. Your feedback helps us bring you more content. Until next time, keep creating. Devon Jones signing off. Stay inspired.